Hi everyone, it's Software Engineer 101. Today we're going to be covering C# operators, arithmetic operators, logical operators, and comparison operators. To get started, let's open up Visual Studio. Create a new project. Search console.net, and we want the C# console app.net framework project. Double click that. Let's name it logical, let's just name it operators. Make sure you're on the latest .NET and that you place the solution project in the same directory. And click create. Alright, once this class is created, let's dive down into the main program. The static void main. We are going to cover the addition operator first, so let's create that here. Alright, so to keep this simple, just so you can see how you can do a lot of math in C#, we're just going to use integers. So let's create an integer, myInt, and let's make it equal to 0. In C#, you can do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, and decrement. For the addition operator, all we have to do here is myInt equals myInt. Let's actually start with equals myInt plus 1, and then we will have a print statement right here, console.writeLine, and in parentheses, double quotes, myInt equals, make it a string builder, there you go. Let's Control S, save this, and press F5 to run it. Oh, I forgot to do the read line. Make sure you do your console read so it doesn't exit the application after it runs through the static void main. Try again, F5. Here we go. You can see that we set my integer to 0, and then now we're saying 0 plus 1, and now the integer equals 0 or 1 in the project. Let's close that. I will also show you another way that you can do this. You can also go myInt plus equals 1. Comment this line out. So when we save that and press F5, we should see the same thing. Alright. Now let's do the subtraction operator. My subint equals 0. And let's say subint equals subint minus 1. And I'm just going to copy this so I don't have to retype. Alright, I'm going to run and save this. So now in the subtraction, we're starting out with 0. We're saying 0 minus 1, that's going to give us a negative 1. Alright, you can stop your console, and let's try it another way. like the addition, you can also do my subint minus equals 1. And this will print out the same thing. Put this together. Alright, pretty straightforward. Next, let's cover the addition or multiplication operator. Int, let's just use my mult int equals 0. Now let's do my mult int equals times 1, which should give us 0. And let's copy the Control D. I'm going to Alt arrow down and change the name here. Alright, so 0 times 1 should be 0. Looks like it worked correctly. Let's change this to something else, like 5, just so you can see it change. There you go. Now I'm going to show you, like we did the previous ones, the shortcut to do this. My multint, you're going to do the star asterisk equals 1. This should times it by 1. Correct. Alright, let's just try 2 here. This should pop out 10. There you go. Alright, let's keep moving on. Let's try the division now. Alright, int my div int equals, let's say, 25. And then my div int equals, let's divide it by itself by 5. And then print out. So just to re-clarify from previous videos, Control D will duplicate your line of code, and then Alt arrow down will move that line of code throughout the project. Alright, let's change the names here. And we should see 5. My div int equals 5. Alright, let's try the shortcut on this one. Oops, sorry. Same as the others. Let's go my division equals 5. This should pop out the exact same result, and it does. Alright, similar to division, let's do the modulus, which is the remainder. Int my mod int equals 25, and then my mod int equals my mod int. Modulus is percent, and let's go 5. And then let's copy this line of code, bring it down, change it here. Alright, so this will be doing 25 divided by 5 and then printing out the remainder, which should be 0. This is useful when running loops later on. If there's so many equal increments to do something else in the loop. And then we can do the shortcut method on this one as well. My mod int modulus equals 5. There we go. Alright. last two are addition and subtraction extra features. So for example, on my int here, let's go my int. You can just go plus plus. And then same on subtraction, you can just go minus minus, and that will change it by one value. So my int will be 1, and subtraction int will be -1. 1, -1. Those are pretty straightforward. Next we will cover the logical operators. Actually, we're going to cover the comparison operators first. That makes more sense. Alright, so we're going to basically go through all these comparison operators by using a if statement. So set one of those up like so, and then also create an else statement after. Let's call this one the false statement, and Control D, tab, Alt arrow that up, and let's name this one true. Alright, so inside your if statement here, let's say does 0 equal 1. So this should print false. Yep, so that's set up correctly. So let's do a does not equal 1. True statement. Pretty straightforward. Now let's do comparison equal. I will create a couple of these copies just so you can have them on GitHub. So not equal. Okay. Now let's cover the less than. So is 0 less than 1? It's going to be true, so it should pop out true. The third one should be true. Looks correct. Let's switch it around and let's go greater than. As you can see here, false statement. So greater than, less than, pretty straightforward, and you can also do the greater than equal or less than equal. Let me create some others of these. Comments, I'll just put use greater than equal, and then less than equal. So those are your basic comparisons: the equals, does not equal, less than equal, or greater than equal. Pretty straightforward. All right, last on the operators is the logical operators. We will go through kind of like what we did up here with the if statements, but they'll be a little different, so I'll show you. Alright, so logical and operator. Let's say if 0 equals 1 and 1 equals 1. Set your curly brackets, braces up. Let's do console.writeLine true statement, and then set up your else. False statement. Okay, and this is going to be your logical and, just so we can differentiate once they print out. Okay, I'm going to run this. So basically it's saying, does 0 equal 1 and does 1 equal 1? So for an and, both statements have to be true or it won't go through. So this should print out false. Logical and false. So now, if you said is 0 less than 1 and does 1 equal 1, that's going to be true. So logical and true statement should display. Alright. Cool, easy. Let's do the logical OR operator. Alright, with ORs, it's the opposite. Only one of these have to be true. So, let's go back to our other example. Does 0 equal 1? And, and the ORs is your bars, which is going to be your backward slash key, just holding shift. So, here we're going to say, does 0 equal 1 or does 1 equal 1? Just one of those have to be true. Since this one is true, it should print out logical or true statement. Press F5. Logical or true statement. Now, if they're both false, it won't work. So here, does 0 equal 1 or does 1 equal 0? Neither of those are true, so it should print out logical or false. There you go. And technically the last one is the logical not. Just change all this to not. So let's say, does 1 equal 1? This is going to be true and it's going to come into your if statement. But if you put parentheses around it and do the exclamation, it reverses what is the operation done inside. So this will be saying, does 1 not equal 1? Logical not, false statement. So let's recover this. We'll go over this again. So 1 equals 1 is true, but outside of that is a not, so it's reversing that. So it's going to say false. So in this if statement, it's basically saying if false, true, this part is true, the not makes it the opposite. So if we were saying, for example, let's make the 0 equals 1. Inside here is false, but it's going to do the opposite. So it should be true and come in here and print the logical not true. There we go. I will keep it a true just so it's easy to understand if you download the code. Again, let me see if I can probably spell this out a little better. So it's kind of like multiplication in a way. Order of operations, so you have true inside of here, but we're saying, hey, we want the opposite of whatever this is. So in this case, it's going to be true or false. Oh, no. Not meaning to click that. Okay, so this covers the arithmetic operators, the comparison operators, and the logical operators. Pretty straightforward, so I haven't gotten anything too complicated. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like the video. I'll keep trying to make more of these. I'm going to try to keep progressing along each language, but I still got a couple more for C#, so hope you enjoyed.